So dear participants, I have the honor to welcome you to the first Experiential Learning Congress that we are organizing in Turkey. We are very excited. We are very happy. Still, participants are joining. So we received really a big number of participation from different countries all around the world. So this virtual platform enables us to connect with different parts of the world. This is beautiful.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alice Kolb. I am so excited to be here with you all, although I cannot see you, but I feel the energy through Mustafa. And Mustafa and Ilke, thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this wonderful Congress. And I'm looking forward to have heated debate, exciting debate, and conversation on experiential learning. And I am, again, very excited here to be with you.
Great. Thank you, Alice, again. So, David?
Yes, I'd echo Alice's enthusiasm about being here with you all to talk about my favorite subject, experiential learning. It's such a wonderful opportunity to connect with folks around the world who come together because we share the ideas of experiential learning and furthering its research and practice. I'd also like to echo your statement that it's really nice to be together face to face in a conference, and we're all used to that. But I also have to say that what a wonderful thing Zoom and the internet is for us all. I mean, I'm having these days so many wonderful conversations with people all over the world and tuned in to things that I could never be if I had to climb on planes and fly back and forth and so on. So while it's not kind of hanging around the bar together or whatever that we have at the conference, it is just wonderful to have the opportunity for this exchange. And I'd like to also say that Ilke and Mustafa have been such wonderful colleagues in Turkey. Ilke with her research and Mustafa as a big part of the Institute for Experiential Learning and our work on community of practice and so on. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, David. It's great to see you both here. So, Ilke?
Yes, I'm really excited. I'm so excited. And I also would like to state that I'm so happy to be here with David and Alice and with all the participants. This is a really big moment for me, and I think for all of us. Thank you for their participation. This is really great honor to us.
So we are going to talk on different topics, step by step. We are turning around the experiential learning cycle. So this is gonna be another great experience. So that's why I would like to start with the first step of the experiential learning cycle. And I would like to direct my question to Alice and David first, and then Ilke, we can answer as well. Okay. You know, you devoted your life to experiential learning, you know, and still you are working on experiential learning to develop experiential learning. And we can see all these outputs from your articles, studies, from your books. But there is something that maybe we can't see among those letters, the story behind. So could you please tell us the story? How did you first time met with experiential learning, and what was the trigger? What was the motivation for you to start and work on experiential learning?
The next summer, I went to Bethel, Maine for a 2-week tea group. And so some of you may know that tea groups were founded by Kurt Lewin, basically self-analytic groups. These were groups where instead of having experts observe, the participants themselves were experts, and their job was to share this. And so it was a very intense emotional kind of experience. And my picture there was standing on the front porch of this old Victorian house amid the trees, sunset, sunrise, pink sunrise early in the morning at the beginning of the first week. And I felt so close to the people who were in my group, and was feeling emotions and thoughts that I just had never imagined that I would feel. And it stood in such a stark contrast, to skip ahead for a second, to what I had been experiencing in my classes, you know, that the kind of education that was going on there was so profoundly different. And as those of you who have read experiential learning or parts of our papers and so on, we took from the T group Lewin's model of experiencing, what we now call experiencing, reflecting, thinking, and acting, as a way to manage a group, and said, what if we applied that with my engineering student friends in the management school? And that was the beginning of starting the first experiential textbook in organization behavior in 1971. And at that time, we published the first learning style inventory. And as they say, the rest is history.
So experiential learning for me has been an ongoing process of becoming, and I'm still not there. And so this is how I started, and I continue to do my research. I continue to engage in some sort of interaction and teaching and so forth. But I think this is, the beauty of experiential learning, that it never ends, but also there's a lot of new surprises and discoveries that never end. So this is my story.
Okay, let me pass to the second part, where mainly I would like to talk about your observations. So let's pass to the reflective observation. Do you think that experiential learning is well understood enough? What are misinterpretations in the field?
One misunderstanding about the learning cycle is that people think that the learning cycle always has to start with a concrete experience. And this is a misunderstanding, because when David wrote this book, first in 1984, this book says that the experiential learning cycle is an idealized form of human learning. And a lot of people drop this idea, idealized. So they think that experiential learning is concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, active experimentation, always happen that way, which is totally contradicts the idea, because then you're flattening this process, It's not a sequential thing. If you make it into a sequence, you just break up the experiential learning cycle and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step. You never go back to concrete experience. So that's the contradiction.
So can I ask you, what do you think, in which direction do you think the studies are tending? Is there any certain direction, like recently, that any new direction, any surprises that you are witnessing? And what this can tell us about the future of experiential learning studies?
There were 1,000 articles in the bibliography, so not today, there's 5,000. Another metric is ResearchGate, where I get citations sent to me, and who's reading the articles. So currently, it's about 5,000 people a week are reading. So there is a huge infrastructure of researchers that is growing tremendously around the world. And of course, that's also a tribute to the internet, that we are able to have this kind of connection and facilitation of one another's work. And
what I'm following, along with what Dave was saying, because the research on experiential learning, which is exponentially, is growing, particularly since 1999. There are at least 33 academic fields that they're doing, research, and they're all doing different interesting research, but also they're converging on the need of their discipline to respond to the need of the 21st century. So there are definitely discipline-specific needs that they are pursuing through experiential learning. But, and that's what Dave was talking about. But my, I think, interest, which I've seen, it's much more of a sort of a broad philosophical change, I think, in our society. And this is related to learning spaces. And when we wrote this article in 2005, Learning Style Learning Spaces, this article citation has never ceased to be cited. And actually it's growing. And normally journal article after 1 or 2 years it died, but it still continued to grow, and it's been cited at a substantially high, level in all kinds of disciplines.
What can you suggest? I mean, what do you think that educators, researchers, we, the civil society, I mean, to develop experiential learning more, in which direction, on which part we should work more? What do you think? Is my question clear, or would you like me to specify a bit more?
Well, what I can say, and which I think it's exciting, the way it's moving. So in a larger scheme of things, I see, for example, in Hong Kong, I was just reading a paper that came out of Hong Kong. They're using experiential learning model in their current life situation they're living in, this idea of activism and advocacy. So experiential learning model is empowering people to demand, for example, social justice. So that's something that's interesting. And another one is in the same line, for example, addressing the idea of the sustainability. So they're starting using not only academic setting for teaching and learning, but they use the experiential learning model to put a frame around large issues that the globe is facing now. So that's quite very, I think, exciting, because this is a time that I think we all live in this earth with turmoil and huge challenges. And what I see blossoming, I think, in the research is that experiential learning framework from those, groups, a societal group, which is trying to empower the disfranchised, the poor, or the inequality and so forth. You're finding useful, talk about a Freirean, philosophy right in the center. And I think that's what is very exciting to me.
My current thing is experiencing. As I look at it, one of the things that keeps us personally from learning is that we're not experiencing. We come into situations already prejudging what they are, who the people are, what their beliefs are, and act based on that rather than being present, focusing our attention on the other person or the situation, hearing them, and letting them have an impact on us. That's experiencing. And without it, we can't learn.
Because I'm from civil society, and I see that in academy, there is a huge knowledge there which civil society needs, but also in civil society, in non-formal education, there is a huge experience that the academy is a bit missing, so but this cooperation will bring a bigger power, bigger strength for social transformation, which Alice emphasized.